Hello everyone! Today we are painting a beautiful Nigerian lady who I'm dedicating to my wonderful friend who has just had to go back to her family there, and I miss her a lot. We are using some exciting techniques to recreate fabric using acrylic paint. Let's get right into it. I've got quite an ambitious plan. I'm going to make fabric out of paint. So I'm going to spread my colors, not just fabric. I want to make Dutch wax cloth. You know, the very popular, especially in Western Africa, type of fabric. Very vibrant and very colorful. This is my silicone mat. I actually got a semi-transparent one. And I am going for blues or turquoise with orange, perhaps red, maybe yellow. This is a mixture of sky blue and some phthalo green. Just a light turquoise, and you can see the consistency runs off the stick like this, and then it disappears. So one part of paint, one part of pouring mix, one part of floetrol, and this is only estimate because I never measure anything. I just check the consistency, and if it's a bit too thick, I spray in some water. Okay, so this is my base color. I can imagine what I want, but I don't know whether it's going to work. I want it quite long, and I'll clean my jar. If you are wondering what kind of jars I use, I just recycle everything. This is an old yogurt jar, really nice yogurt. There is some metallic. The sky blue was a metallic paint. I'm just joining the paint. It's probably a bit too thick, so I might spread it in a minute with my palette knife, just joining the gaps. I'm just thinking maybe a good idea would be to make a swipe with black and then add some patterns with colors. Let me just pop the air bubbles. I'm thinking I'll make a small amount of black, and I'm going to add a drop of silicone to create a swipe just on blue. As you can see, this is like 1 spoon of black, a tiny amount. I might actually spray some water into it to make it a bit thinner. So I definitely don't want much. I just want a little bit of black pattern on top. Okay, so 1 or 2 drops. This is coconut hair serum, which is a dimethicone product, but you can use any pure silicone or dimethicone product. It's not coconut oil, and definitely not cooking oil, because I have so many questions, and I understand that, you know, it's not always the same people watching my videos, so you may not know. Now I'm mixing it well. I don't want huge cells. This is probably the thinnest and the longest strip I've ever planned to do. And this is paper towel. Nothing special, just a regular paper towel, which I'm going to spray with water to make it moist. I think I'm just going to add a bit of black here as well. Oops. And swipe it the other way around. So I do want some patterns here. That's very pretty. Let's torch it. Okay, now there's definitely too much black, but I may not even use this section. Let's swipe this one now. That's it. That will do. Little sails appear. I love the color. I'm going to add just some dots, orange dots in places. But the combination of color is lovely. Actually didn't say that this painting is dedicated to my lovely, lovely friend who is in Nigeria now. She's been going through some very, very, very difficult times. Yeah, I really miss her, and I wish I could be there to help, but sorry, just a bit of a private story behind this piece. I actually think that it's going to look like fabric. I think so. Some dots are bigger than others. So I'll be happily making dots. It's now probably boring, so have a cup of tea and see you in a few minutes. It won't take me longer than 5 probably. Now I'm of course repeating the same pattern in here. I actually have a question because I've been considering something even more ambitious. I've been thinking, has anybody tried, so if you have, please, please, please let me know, send me a message. Has anybody tried pouring on real fabric? Because I would love to see that, if you have. I know there are certain, they are textile paints, but this is something different. I'm just wondering, how far can we push pouring? I do teach my students about African art. I always tell them about the history of Dutch wax cloth, and now the contemporary artists like Yinka Shonibare, who utilizes it in the most amazing way. If you haven't seen his pieces, I absolutely recommend. Beautiful and so thoughtful. After all, I've decided I'm going to leave it, because if I was going to add some patterns here, I'm going to lose those lovely black cells and the lacing, and I want to keep it. This is the background for my fabric, and I think it actually does look like Dutch wax cloth. As usual, I was doing some research online to look at some patterns, and I came across this funky one. It says royalty free, so I suppose that could be my inspiration. If you want, you can even trace it, but I'm just going to this is my source of inspiration, and I really love it. I don't know, there's something about it I really like. So I started sketching it. You can use tracing paper to trace an object on the internet. You can print it out and trace it if you don't want to sketch it yourself. Now I started here, and now I'm just going to make the lines darker. This is a 4B pencil. It's a soft dark graphite, so it's going to transfer the image really nicely. This is the 50 by 20 canvas, and I'm going to pour the background. And because this is going to be all about Africa, I want the colors to be very vibrant and very sunny and cheerful. So the background is going to be mainly orange and yellow. And the color is also going to reflect the colors in the cloth that my woman is going to wear. I used Arteza's lemon yellow. I mixed it with Cass Art orange. This is cadmium orange. And I created this kind of lighter orange. And then I also used Liquitex heavy body acrylic, cadmium yellow medium. And I created this one. So this is the regular paint. This one is heavy body, so I put a bit more water in here. With the heavy body acrylic, you have to mix it really well. The paint is very well pigmented, but it's not so easy to mix. So I spend a longer time mixing this one, and just make sure both of them are the same consistency. And now I'll spread it. Oh, it's a nice rich color. I'll do the edges later. I personally don't like putting too much paint, but this is just me. You can flood your canvas if you wish. I do strain my Floetrol, by the way, because sometimes they're gloopy bits. And now the yellow I did not mix with orange. I don't want too much of this color. Once I'm happy with all this, I'll do the edges very slowly. All the edges are nicely covered, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to torch some air bubbles. I can see. and I will leave it to dry. Now this is the time to transfer the pattern onto my, well, let's call it wood fabric. Now if I want my lady to be facing the same way as she is now, I'm going to go and do it on this side, on the reverse, and I'm only going to trace this dress. I'm just going to press pretty hard here. So that's basically it. What I do, I basically use my nails, but some people might find it a bit, you can use just the end of the pencil and press. You can draw over, that will transfer the line as well. You see how shiny it is at an angle? That's why it'll be easy to cut. Now the best part. I'm just going to peel it off. Oh, this section was super easy. Definitely don't want anything broken. It's much easier with thicker one, but I did want a delicate fabric. I didn't want just a chunky bit of pore, so it's, you see, it's thin, but it feels like silk. It's amazing. Almost done. Now the part with the sleeve, little sleeves are, oh, it's safe. It's safe. Yay. Done it all. Okay, the dress is ready to be cut, and this is the headgear, so let's just peel it off. Smaller pieces are much quicker. I'm cutting carefully now. I'm just going to cut all that off just like this, and I'll adapt it later. At the moment it looks like this. This is the position I want my lady to be, and as usual, instead of glue I am using acrylic paint. Of course you can use glue. I'm just going to cover with white paint. Remember that the background is acrylic paint, the skin is acrylic paint, so if I'm using this as my glue, this is going to stick really, really well. It's all the same. Now if I mess up the edges, what I'm doing, I'm just using baby wipe and cleaning them off. I'm not going to bore you with sticking the whole thing. And as I said, I could replace that easily with PVA glue. The dress is stuck nicely. And what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to trace the hands, the head and the shoulders using again 4B pencil, and I'm going to transfer it directly onto my painting. She's not that realistic. The hands are too thin, but this is the style. She's supposed to be so slim. The headscarf or the headdress I am going to add later. I am going to paint now her body. Position her in the right place. If it's easier, you tape your design so it doesn't move, just using masking tape in corners. Done. There are various options for how I'm going to paint. I could use my pouring acrylic. I can also try Posca pens. This is a very thin one. I do have thicker ones, but I might just do the outlines with this. Small brush, black acrylic. I think she will look very elegant. I thought Mars Black would look much more striking with this design than dark brown or brown umber, especially against the orange background. Oh, did I tell you the most exciting news for my channel for a very long time? Finally, after many deliberations, I actually got a website. So if you like any piece of mine during any of my tutorials, you can find them on my website. You'll be probably surprised. They won't be just paintings. I also like making jewelry if I have time, but that's pretty rare these days. Maybe a couple of pieces of jewelry and some decorative items for the house, just to make sure that I cover her face. What would be the best name for this painting? Any suggestions? What do you think so far? Do you remember the little piece I poured? So now it's very handy, and that's why I wanted it. And I am going to transfer the image. I just wanted a bit of dark and lighter. Let's try it on. Oh, how cool. Yeah, I love it. I love it. This is so fun. This is so much fun. See, every time I touch the background, it looks lighter, but it's just because the paint is wet. The lips are missing, so quickly going to paint her lips. I was planning actually adding some yellow with Posca pen and adding some patterns. I think I actually like it this way, so as usual I kind of halfway through I reconsider, and I actually think that this dress just with orange looks very nice. And what I'm going to do, just maybe a few gentle shadows where it folds, and especially here, the mouth and earrings. Pressing down. Oh yes. For the lips I'm going to use, what is it? This one is Brilliant Red. It's a pre-mixed paint by Arteza. Just giving her nice lipstick and some lovely smile. A very small amount of black. I'm going to create some shadows. I'm mixing black with some water. I don't think I actually need a lot because of the type of the patterns here. As you can see, it's a really small amount of grey. And on this side, I'm going to add a little bit of sky blue with a bit of white. So, you know, creating some highlights here. This is a metallic paint as well. It's a tiny amount, but it's enough to create a little bit of a, you know, light shining from this side. And here, just a couple. The very last thing I'm going to add is some jewellery. I've got this tiny brush. I think I'm going to go over twice once it's dry. I wonder what your thoughts are on this type of design. It was definitely fun to make. As you know, that I really like acrylic skins, and making mixed media I find it very exciting. If you do make something similar, I would really appreciate if you send me a picture via Instagram, and then I can share it every Friday with my followers. I share my followers' work. It's called the Fun Friday, and there are some beautiful pieces that really make me happy. You know, seeing that somebody watches my tutorial and then tries to make something similar. It's awesome. Okay, let's leave it to dry. I think I'm going to use Liquitex spray varnish. I'll wait for it to all dry, and then I'll go out to spray the painting. Thank
you all so much for watching. I've used acrylic skins before, but never so thin and versatile. I can see countless possibilities with this, and I am excited to see what you tried with this technique. Oh, don't forget to head to abcreativeofficial.com for all the latest updates and available items to buy. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye bye!